I'm going to take a couple of minutes to go through each of the points. Because like Mr. Brown, I also felt that there was good efforts on part of people to try to initiate a process, but that it wasn't clear as what the board's message was, and so I want to apologize for not establishing some parameters. One thing is that the board made a vote not to do K-8. Took a vote. And it's unfortunate, I haven't heard any other board members speak to that tonight, but I'm going to speak to it. I do not support K-8 for any of the 7 feeder schools that go into Portla Middle School. So I want to be very clear. So staff here is one board. I've only heard from me. I don't know if other board members want to take. I think it is a huge diversion of the community's time, of my time, to begin to have a conversation about something that we've looked at for the last 18 months. As a matter of fact, we looked at it for the last 10 years when, in 1995, when I was sitting on the board, it was discussed. I still have the letter, June 12th, 1995, from Dr. Bruce Smith. I still have it. I keep it. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring it next time so people have it. I want to let staff know that I do not want any further conversation about K-8 in any community meeting. That way, we will not be dissuaded, distracted, or divided about what this board wants to do. I want, for me, to eliminate that as part of any option. Second of all, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. It deals with issues that we don't have funding for facilities. We don't have staffing. We don't have the programs that we can create to do what you'll see at other neighboring districts that have middle schools that we can't compete with. That's why people don't come to our middle schools. They don't come here because of any grade level configuration. It's got nothing to do with it. And it's really disturbing to believe that this board is that naive to think that they're going to build 7th and 8th grades on sites. We already have a K-8 in our school district. It's called Stewart School. They work at it very hard. Carol Butcher works nonstop. I've gone out and I've talked to her about how she's made it work. That's not fair to ask other principals to put that kind of investment and time in. We actually built the facility at the time to do it. So no one around here is anti-K-8. It's just illogical at this time to think about the demographic and how things can happen, the interruption of programs that you would have, the interruption of families. When they talked about Castro, all of a sudden people from the catchment area I'm in is, well, K-8 for Castro. Well, I thought you meant K-8 for Kensington and K-8 for Madera as well. So it's about particular interest of people who are not interested in the district. They're interested in their own child, and I understand and appreciate that. But I got elected because I spoke up against K-8, and they voted me in. And that's why I'm sitting here today. And I'm telling each and every one of you, I want the conversation to stop about K-8. But I've only heard me say that. I haven't heard anybody else say that. But I agree with Ms. Cronenberg. I want to replace the middle school with a world-class middle school. But I want to be direct with the staff and the superintendent. I don't want to hear any more conversations about K-8. The second part is that I'm glad that the board is coming around to something I thought was a lot of nonsense, was that there was no actual requirement to ask that commercial sites in the city of El Cerrito be explored before any thought or consideration was made as to affecting any of the existing school sites that are already housed for a reason. When they built these schools in the 1950s, they made a decision to not build it at those school sites. There were commercial areas, there were neighborhoods. There was a reason why they made Castro an elementary school. There was a reason why they made Fairmont an elementary school. Harding was built in the early 40s. There was reasons. There was reasons why they picked Portland, because it had the space. Now, yes, they didn't have the seismic safety issues, but a speaker quite eloquently said, The most of El Cerrito's already in a geotechnical landslide slope area. It is. If you go on Arlington, that runs all along the Hayward fault line. If you go up and down Mosier, you see all the wiring and all the equipment already up and down. Nobody's talking about PG&E shutting down their station across the way. So I think that it's interesting tonight I listened to every single speaker, and not one speaker said that they felt that it would be appropriate for them to move out of Cordula and put their kids in those neighborhood schools. I did not hear one speaker advocate for that. And so I'm directing staff that if my only opportunity or willingness to explore any of the other existing sites where we operate elementary school facilities will be if the city of El Cerrito explicitly puts in writing that they will not allow us to develop any of their commercial sites. Because then I will direct all of the residents and all of the parents to talk to the city of El Cerrito about why they will not consider alternative sites. Because then the onus is not on the school district. We will have no choice. But I can tell you the choices I will exclude. I will not put a middle school at the Castro site. I won't put it there. All right? I won't vote for that. Because I think that it's inappropriate, and I think that the programs that we talked about, and I think that the configure, it's not even within a commercial zone to be considered for inclusion. But you could say that's about some other middle schools as well. You don't have that at Adams. Adams is not in a commercial zone. Last time I checked, Crespi is in a residential neighborhood. I just think it's inappropriate. But I got to tell you, this is pretty persuasive to me about the idea. I don't know, I can't remember who brought this diagram here. Who? Okay, Mr. Raynell. It's pretty powerful information when we're looking at, it seems inconsistent for me to say, I won't build at Castro, but yet I'm considering Fairmont, when it looks kind of obvious to me that even at this Fairmont site, it looks pretty seriously flawed. However, I still think that in talking, and I'm the one who has actually gone and talked to the architects, looked at the site, and considered it. But it would be pretty difficult for me even to approve Fairmont. But at least I would see an option where, and somebody else is right. All of a sudden, if you start talking about, and staff doesn't inform us, all of a sudden I need to see a new kindergarten building at Alvarado. I see new grass field. That's money. That's not budgeted. We don't have that even in our facilities master plan budget. So obviously that starts getting even more people upset because, quote unquote, we make promises we can't keep. Like they say, we become two-faced. So I think it's difficult for me to look at. I actually like what Ms. Cronenberg has even mentioned. We have, maybe this would take care of all these individuals' interests, but Hercules High School is actually a 7-12 site. Now, I don't know if it's big enough. I don't know if it's thoughtful enough, but I'm struggling with this whole Fairmont issue after seeing all this tonight. I'll still say if the city declares that they will not allow us to have any commercial site, I'll keep, it'll be very difficult for me to even do Fairmont, but I'm not going to close the door on that right now. But I want to direct staff. My intention is I will not vote to move Fairmont at all unless I have clear and convincing evidence that the city of El Cerrito is unwilling and will not work collaboratively with the district and has basically said in writing that they will not allow us to develop in any commercial sites within the city within a reasonable amount of sites that are reviewed. So I want to make clear that to staff, I'm not interested in any K-8 conversation, and even if it turns out the city of El Cerrito does not allow us to develop any commercial sites, I will exclude Castro as an option for me.